Welcome to Monster Monday.
Monsters.
Continuing on with the Hammer Horathon. That rhymed, and I didn't mean
The
it to.
Hammer Horathon. Continuing on.
Yeah, you said it backwards for some weird reason. So, yeah, Brides of Dracula, Part 2 of the 9-picture Dracula extravaganza that Hammer had gifted us onto the world. Yeah. So, okay. This one is also directed by Terence Fisher, who directed the first one. This one came out a couple years later in 1960. Stars Peter Cushing as Dr. Van Helsing, or as the one chick calls him, Dr. Van I was like, what? We literally rewound it 3 times. Because I was like, is he playing Van Helsing in this? Because it does not sound like it. It does not sound like it. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, as far as this one goes, I do like it more. Just because I'm kind of over the Dracula story. Right? It's just been done so many times. I know at that point it hadn't been done that many times. Yeah. Even then, though, it had already been done a few times. But at this point, I'm just so tired of that story. I'm just over it. Jonathan Harker and all that, Lucy and all that stuff. I just don't care anymore.
Yeah.
So it was cool to get something new. Mm-hmm. And there is things that I quite like about this one. But I do think that the title is misleading.
Yes.
For sure. So, okay, we've got Baron Meinster, who is the Dracula of the movie. Now, the Baron was turned by Dracula.
Yeah.
So technically, because the Baron turns these girls and makes them his brides, they're the brides of Dracula by proxy.
Yeah, because whoever like the original vampire sire is like, that's like the vampire lore, right? Like if you want to kill all vampires, like isn't that one of the things, like you kill the original one and then like all of the...
Okay, am I wrong on this? I know we just watched it too, but we just watched too many goddamn movies. Doesn't it lift the curse when Dracula is killed on someone in that very movie? Or am I crazy on that?
I don't think anybody's...
I thought someone, like, after he was killed...
You might be thinking of Van Helsing in this, because...
No. He pours freaking holy water, which I have a total issue with that, too. But
nobody's curse is lifted. Like,
but isn't that usually how this works?
Yeah.
Like you kill, like once Dracula's killed, then all the vampires he's turned shouldn't be vampires anymore.
Yeah.
But that's not the case here. So I guess the lore would state that that's not the case, because Baron should not be a vampire anymore because Dracula turned him and Dracula's dead.
Maybe it was in the last one, because didn't like I don't know, what happened with his one bride that turned into an old lady?
Yeah, that was after she was killed.
Right, that's what I'm thinking of. I don't know. We can...
Yeah.
I don't know. We might have all of our lore wrong. But yeah. I did like this one more, too. I like Dracula, like, as a story. I'm fine with it. But I found this one to be much more entertaining and interesting, just because it, like you said, I think it's a story that I wasn't familiar with, obviously. Like, that definitely helps. But yeah. I don't know. I thought that the characters, even though I still have a major problem with all the female characters.
I'm going to college
to visit my brother. Yeah. They all are so one-dimensional. Yeah. Like, literally, which we'll get into it, but I mean, our main actress.
Get into it now.
She literally meets the Baron and is like, I'm going to marry him. They're like in love instantly. And I know that's like a cliche of a lot of movies, especially of this time period, but even today, like there's still movies that come out, but not this fast. And there's still at least, like, even if it's quick, where it's like love at first sight, like Jack and Rose or something, which
But
isn't even
Jack
love
and
at
Rose's
first sight.
relationship
like,
is fleshed out
that's what I was gonna say.
for half that
But
movie.
there's at least still like moments where it's like you can tell that they're attracted to each other and they have like chemistry or like whatever.
Jack
so
and
like
Rose?
just in general, I'm talking about like the trope in general of like love at first sight.
Yeah.
Like it works when you can like really sell people on like they're in love, like they're just inexplicably like drawn together.
Yeah.
That's not what happens in this. And I know he's a vampire, so he has like the charm and charisma and everything, but I don't feel like he's using it. I mean, maybe he's using it on her. I don't know. I just think this is like,
I don't get that impression.
I don't think he's using it on her.
Because we see him use that.
Yeah.
And he's not using that on her.
No, because like when he uses that, people are like,
yes,
they're like dumb and like
they're drones.
Yeah. But she's just kind of like, he's a handsome man, and he's rich. I'll marry him.
Well, it's not even, it's okay. Like, it's the fact that like they meet under these very precarious circumstances.
Yeah.
Right? She uncuffs him from his shackles in this house in which everybody's claiming he's a lunatic. She frees him without even thinking about it. And then his mom ends up dead that night, which she, is fully aware of. And then he just shows up at her place after having vanished. And she's like, oh, hey. And he's like, hey, you want to marry me? And she's like, absolutely.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It's
and like,
stupid.
It's not fair to her either because like Van Helsing, like when he rescues her and stuff and is like taking her to the school that she's supposed to be teaching at, he's like, I need you to tell me everything. Like there's an illness that's going around. But he doesn't tell her, which I mean, I guess it's probably hard for him to be like, but she
wouldn't
was like,
believe him.
Yeah, but it's like she was directly involved in it, like directly there. I feel like she deserves to know what was happening. And if she didn't believe him, like that's her problem. But at least he would have told her so she could be prepared. And then if she knew that, then when he shows up, when the Baron shows up, she might have been more cautious and suspicious of him.
He only trusts men with this information.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. He tells
these movies are like
all the men, he's like, he's a vampire.
Yeah.
And here's why. And here's how. And with the women, he's like, oh, well, there's a sickness. And
it's definitely because like the women in this, like just like in the last one, right? But it's like, it's the time period. Like they're viewed as like fragile fragile flowers that like you can't talk to directly, you can't tell them like exactly what's going on. They won't understand, they'll be hysterical, like all that. And it's definitely funny to watch, but it's also so aggravating because it's like, like we talked today about how like in today's world how representation is so important in film. And it's like when you watch like some of these older ones, and this is just like with women, this isn't even like dealing with people of different races and religions and stuff, because they're also clearly, obviously treated terribly. But it's like, imagine like growing up watching this and being like, yeah, that's like how I'm supposed to act. Like that's how a woman's supposed to be.
That's why.
Even though we also did talk about how, like I kind of was getting this confused. I don't know why. But I was like confusing like when the films were made for when the film was actually set.
Yeah.
What was it that I said that was like, I don't know.
Yeah, you thought because this was made in the 60s that it was also set in the 60s and the women in it were acting like women from the 60s. Yeah. And I was like, hey, babe, this is like late 1800s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously in the 60s, like there was more progressive stuff going on, but it's still like, you know. Yeah. So
we get this opening where she is being like taxied over there in this horse-drawn carriage, and this guy is going like super fast, and she's like, "Can you slow down?" And she's like getting thrown around back there, and then he just hits it to go faster. He hits the horse to go faster, and he literally drifts the freaking car. I didn't even know you could drift a carriage.
He does.
But this was straight up Fast and the Furious.
This was Fast and the Furious, like freaking Romania drift.
Yeah.
Wherever they are.
Romanian drift. I don't know where this one's actually set. This one, she's a French teacher who's coming here. I don't know how close to Transylvania this one is supposed to be, but Yeah, whatever
I think
it
it's
is.
close because Van Helsing says like there's an affliction that happens like in this area predominantly.
Yeah. The castle in this looks very cool.
Yeah, it does.
So you know, some good aesthetics there. The fact that like this dude's chained up and she just like unshackles him, like just like, you're cute. It's all good. Let me just go grab this key. Ridiculous. We find out the mom, the Baroness, was there she's been killing women.
So she brought her to kill her.
Just giving these like young, because still don't really understand like what's going on in town. Like when she arrives, I guess they're just afraid that because she's an unchaperoned single woman, that she's just the target.
Yeah.
But like it's her mom that's the one going and killing. Really? I mean, he's doing the killing, but she's bringing him to him. So she's the murderer here.
I think that the townspeople know that like young women go missing when they come there.
Maybe and protect them.
I mean, they like are trying, but like not very hard.
Everyone just leaves.
We can't let her in, and then they're like, "I have to."
Shouldn't they be like everything in their power to be like, okay, you need to come with us. We're going to put you in this room. Yeah. We're going to protect you, and we're going to get you the next train out of here. And like everyone should band together. But no, but they don't
explain anything to her. They're just like,
he's not attacking the town. These girls are just getting kidnapped. Yes. So it's not like there's this monster running loose in town who's like butchering women and leaving their, you know, ruined corpses for all to see, and they're like terrified. There's just a slew of disappearances of young women who fit her profile, right? And all they do is throw her to the wolves.
Because it's like, because she's taking these foreign girls, like travelers, she's not taking people from the town.
So do you think that she was like brought in not to teach? Do you think she was like hired to be a victim?
No. I think she was hired for sure. I think that
she arrives and
that the guy that picks her up,
you don't actually have a job.
I think the guy that picks her up probably is in on it and is paid off, like, so that's why he leaves without her. Which also, her baggage.
I was gonna just ask you.
We were so confused because, like, she goes into this like restaurant, tavern, no bags, nothing, and the guy's like, "Oh my god, you gotta go! Like, we gotta go get him." And like, the guy's already gone. Like, the carriage is gone. He's like leaving.
Yeah.
She's got no bags.
Yeah.
And then the Baroness comes and is weird and talks to her and is like, "Oh, you should stay at my cool castle." Yeah. And she's like, "Okay, yes, right away, of course."
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they don't even say, "We'll get your bags." She gets in the new carriage with no bags, nothing.
Right. Somewhere along the way, she talks about like how her bags are at the castle.
Yes.
And you're like,
yes.
No, they're not.
He's like, because after she leaves, Van Helsing, she tells him, she's like, "I need to go get my bags. I need to send for my bags." And he's like, "No, don't."
Yeah, that makes
bags.
No bags. No bags. They fell off the drifting carriage
100%.
100 miles back.
100%. But I do think she was actually hired. I think that the original driver was probably paid off to bring, like, you know, he picks women up and then like abandons them so they have no way of leaving. And then the Baroness comes in and is like, "Oh, I can give you a place to sleep." And
how did you feel about how the dude was treating our French teacher, and then how he was treating Van Helsing until he found out that him and Van Helsing went to similar schools, and then he was just like, "Yes, master, anything you want, master." This guy was just like, "There will be no followers." Somehow she turned into an Instagram influencer.
It's like, no followers.
They referred to him as followers, not like gentlemen callers or something. Like, I've heard I've heard a lot of terms. Suitors. I've never heard followers before. Like, I don't know what that is.
Women just had guys like following them, and they're like, "This is actually stalking."
Stalking was it was just called following back then. It was a normal practice. But like literally as soon as he finds out like he was a doctor who went to a school that he finds reputable, he's just like, dude. He's like, "Anything, my liege.
Oh my
anything God. You need. I'm your guy." He's like bowing to his feet, kissing his feet, and I'm like, "What?"
It's so ridiculous. It was really funny. I was very like, and whiplash from it.
And Van Helsing takes that information like, duh. Like,
Yeah,
of course
like,
he would react like that.
I know, that's why I was so confused when we were watching this. Because I was like, how would he know? Like, I didn't understand, like, how Van Helsing would know. Because it almost seemed like he knew, like, if I give you my card and, like, tell you, like, I'm a doctor and I, like, blah, 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 blah. Like, that the guy would just be like, oh, of course. Like, we went to the same college.
Yeah.
But I guess it's just, like, I don't know.
We get this other doctor who arrives who's supposed to be, like, the comedic relief, I think. He's like super goofy.
Yeah.
He's like making jokes. I found him to be pretty funny, but at the same time, like, why is he here and why is he in this movie? And, like, I don't really understand. Like, he's honestly just here to be funny, I think. Like, he doesn't really serve a purpose otherwise. Like, Van Helsing's got this.
Yeah,
you don't need this dude to come in.
Yeah, 100%. I don't know. I was confused by that too. I think he's supposed to be like the doctor that the townspeople like sent for.
Yeah.
Because Van Helsing is just like he's like a traveling, like, isn't he supposed to be working with like the Catholic Church or something? I'm just going off of the Van Helsing movie that has Hugh Jackman in it. That's like my entire knowledge of Van Helsing. But yeah. I think that the comedic guy is like the doctor that the town actually uses, which sucks because it's like, that's your doctor.
Yeah. So, have you ever seen a more shallow grave in a movie? Because I'm telling you right now, if you buried someone that shallow, a like soft breeze would expose the casket.
I know. It's like that. They're like right under the earth.
It's like if you just took a little sand and just kind of put it on top of the coffin.
Yeah, it was so shallow.
They're like, how deep is the casket? And they're like, it's 2 feet. And they're like, all right, dig it 2 feet and 1 centimeter and just cover it with dirt.
100%.
When they pull that casket off and like the casket is like level with the ground.
Yeah, and then she just opens it and it's like crazy.
Bro, what? That's how far. This is the laziest house. They're burying so many people. They're like, bro, I can't. I can't dig anymore. She's gonna get up anyway.
Like, we know she's gonna wake up. I really liked the crazy woman that like was at the castle.
Yeah.
And then also she's like at that grave and she's like, wake up. And, like, she was actually pretty creepy.
She was, but I didn't understand her character.
She was. That's why I kept saying like she's like the Igor, I guess. Like she's like the.
But Igor is from.
I know.
Frankenstein,
I don't know why I kept saying that, but that was like my idea. What?
But she wasn't like really on their side.
Igor, Renfield. That's what I kept meaning to say. That's what I kept meaning to say, but I kept saying Igor.
I don't get her because she's not like with it. Like, I don't know.
She wants to be. She's like a wannabe vampire bride, 100%. And so she's like a fangirl. That's like what I got from it. But I thought that she was pretty creepy.
Yeah.
And I also like the way that the brides look in this with their like white, just like painted white faces and like their permanent smiles because their like teeth don't close. You know, their mouth doesn't close. But I mean, they don't really do anything except just kind of like sit there and be like pale and have pointy teeth. But I liked how they looked.
Well, that's just it. So what should have been the case here is that the brides of Dracula, once he's vanquished, should have been the threat of the film.
100%. This is what happens.
This is the problem with it being like a very sexist time. Is like, no, the main villains can't be women.
Yeah,
they have to have a man leader.
Yeah, but they should have totally been like using their sexuality and
they should have been turning dudes into their servants. 100%. Yes.
Because that's also why I like the Van Helsing with Hugh Jackman in it, because I wouldn't say that the brides are like the main villains, but like obviously because it's more modern, they're like actually like deadly and stuff, and they're super sexy and scary. Yeah. Both, which is what I want. Like from vampires, male or female. I want them to be like that combination where it's like deadly. But yeah, they were just kind
like
of
Fright Night.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I think that works really well. But yeah, in this, they're just kind of like just smiling.
They're useless.
They're totally useless.
They're the titular characters, and they are completely useless. I don't think they kill a single person in the movie.
No, they don't do anything. They don't even help their freaking Baron.
Yeah, Dracula.
He looks pretty creepy too, I will say. His eyes, like the context that they use in his eyes are pretty like icky looking.
Yeah, brides do nothing but hiss.
Yeah.
That's what I wrote down here.
That's so lame. They're just like cats.
Yeah.
Aww.
They're like a little being like, go away.
You would do more damage than them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Van Helsing healing his neck wound because in this there is no exchange of fluids that makes them brides. That I've seen, right?
No, they just get
bit and they get bit. They get killed.
Yeah, they just
and then they come
wounds.
back.
Yeah.
So like everyone who's bit comes back because the way it's supposed to work is that the vampire has to give you his blood.
Yeah.
While you're either dying or even I don't even know. Do you have to be bit first, or can you just drink the blood without ever having been bit? I thought you had to be bit. Whatever the hell it is, it doesn't matter. The point is that every person who gets bit gets brought back. Doesn't really make any sense because Dracula would then have to dispose of the remains for anyone he didn't want, which is actually how I wrote a script for my werewolf Santa thing that I had written years and years ago. That everyone turns unless they're completely like disposed of. And they have to like Dracula would be like severing heads and making sure they can't come back if that was the case. And he like picks the ones he wants to come back. Right. So the fact that like everyone comes back, but this is what doesn't make any sense to me. So now I guess from this point on, Van Helsing has no excuse because maybe he just didn't know. And he's like, oh shit, now I know. Now I can use this trick. But like he gets bit, which is what should turn him, right? Or do you have to die from it? I don't know, whatever the hell the rules are. He brands himself to stop the bleeding, then pours holy water on it. And the holy water completely heals it. It's gone, no scar, no nothing, no proof that it was ever even there. So completely like vanquishing any curse in him.
Yeah.
So anyone he's met who has the puncture wounds in the past, who's on their deathbed,
still alive, yeah.
He should have been able to brand them, pour the holy water on. I don't even know if the branding is there's a point to that. Honestly, it would make more sense to pour it in there while it was open so it could get into the wound. Whatever it is, you do that and you save the people. So if in the next movie, he's not in the next movie. He comes in later. But I don't know what the continuity is here. Probably not any. But from this point on, let's just say he's like, that worked? Oh shit, okay, now I got a new trick. Anyone who's still alive, I can save.
Yeah, he should be able to do that. I think that because
why does he do it to himself? He does it to himself like he knew that would do it. And it's like, you didn't use that on the girls before that you knew?
Yeah, it just happens to have like a,
he can save himself.
Yeah. It kind of is like the vampire bite is like poisonous.
Right.
Where it infects you. But I also like when vampires, like if they bite you, but they're not like, you're not dying and they're not giving you your blood, you just become like kind of addicted to them. Like you just are like more easily manipulated and like let them feed on you all the time.
Yeah.
Again, kind of like you're getting poisoned or whatever. But I don't know. Van Helsing's like fight in this was pretty funny.
Yeah.
The Baron is not very hard to beat.
No. These never have good final battles.
What happens to the brides? Don't they just like run away?
Yeah, nothing happens to them.
So they're just like maybe dead?
Maybe, I have no idea. So yeah, we get the very cool and of course Kaylee makes a great point, and this is something of course I've always thought of too. It's like anything that makes a cross kills them. But he gets caught in the shadow of a cross, right? It's more of the shadow that does it than it, and I think it's because it's like in the moonlight. It's like a big shadow moonlight cross that does it to him, and it was pulled down by like a servant of God that is Van Helsing. But the fact that he jumps on the windmill and pulls it down to make a cross that kills him, and when he throws the holy water in his face and his face is like falling apart, that actually looks great.
It looked cool
and it's
really
creepy.
Good. Yeah, for sure.
And I really like that he uses this massive cross that's the windmill.
I
and
do too.
He dies and the credits are just rolling over that cross burning.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like the font too that's used. Very like gothic and like super cool. But yeah, I guess you can just be like
You can. I've seen it in movies where people just go like this and it works. So like
so crazy. It makes no sense to me.
My favorite one is in From Dusk Till Dawn. But you haven't seen it.
No, I haven't.
We're gonna watch it. I'm not gonna ruin anything. It's one of the most insane movies I've ever watched.
It, but I think I was younger.
You gotta see it.
I was like pretty young when I saw
It's such a crazy movie. It was ahead of its time for sure, because back then people thought it was too crazy. But nowadays I think they would appreciate it way more. It's such a fun movie. It's so over the top. It's everything I want that kind of movie to be. But as of this one, this is a fun one.
It's fun.
Prince of Dracula is next, which I think is the movie where Christopher Lee does not say a single word in the film. Like, he hated the script so much, he had like every line cut from the film. So we'll see. I just remember it kind of being almost like a slasher where some like teenagers come to like a castle and are like stalked one by one.
That's cool.
By a voiceless killer. So it's very much like a slasher. Much before slashers were a thing. But yeah, so that was it. Apex is calling my name. So Monster Monday in the books. We'll see you guys next week with Dracula, Prince of Darkness.
Of Darkness?
I'm almost positive that's what it was.
Carpenter?
No, I was actually going to say something completely different, but I don't care.
All right. We'll see you next week.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Bye.